Onboarding video clients correctly is crucial because it sets the tone for the future business relationship. This is the point that filmmakers and creatives sometimes get wrong and inevitably leads to the client asking for more to be done and you feeling like you can't charge more for that service or feeling a bit stuck because you forgot to mention it earlier on. You're certainly not alone in thinking that, but I want to make sure this video provides clear value and a step-by-step process that you can copy and paste to make sure that you can iron out any of the pitfalls or challenges that you might face by not having a correct onboarding procedure. So to kick things off, the first part of this process is understanding the client's needs. So to initiate the onboarding process, we would schedule a discovery meeting with them. This is our opportunity to understand the client's objectives, their target audience, the messaging they want to use, and the desired outcome for the video project itself. We'll dive deep into all of the details so that we have a clear understanding of what's needed. Now, the next stage often happens after that meeting, and that is the agreement stage. So here we're clearly communicating the project scope of work, the timelines, the deadlines, the budget, ensuring that both of us agree on those terms by outlining them into a contract or a scope of work agreement. Depending on the client and their particular needs, this would often happen in those two stages. So the initial discovery meeting, then moving into the agreement, and then once they're happy with the agreement, we would move into the future stages as well. It might be that for some of them, we have multiple meetings with them to make sure that we're all aligned and maybe reviewing the document and contracts before moving further forward. This process is all about looking after that customer from start to finish and also making sure that everyone is clear so we don't find ourselves in those awkward situations. The scope of work document alone is one of the most important things that you do, just documenting all of those things that I've just mentioned into a simple one-page PDF where they can sign and agree on it, because that gives us the opportunity later on to upsell future services, or if you're in a position where you're on set, you've completed the work and they actually want some more videos doing, instead of just saying no or saying yes but not getting paid for it, you can say yeah, absolutely fine, that's no problem at all. I'll have to check the scope of work document when we get back, but it might just be that we charge additional for this, depending on whatever. Then it gives you something that you can come back to at a later date and actually say, okay, amazing, so we completed the work as agreed on for in the scope of work, and then these videos we estimate to cost about this much. Are you happy for us to proceed? And they can go back through that process with those videos in an editing part of the phase as well later on. It just means that it's very clear. There's a visual representation between this is what we agreed on for this price. If you want these as well, then obviously the price is going to change. And it makes that conversation and the tone of the conversation so much more better and healthy for both parties. So we've done the discovery call, we've had the meeting with them, we've then followed up with the scope of work contract or agreement, which documented everything that I'd mentioned before. Now we're moving into the creative concept and development stage. So of course we already understand the creative brief and concept of the video itself. That's listed in that document I previously mentioned. Now it's about developing a detailed brief based on the client's requirements and their expectations. So this is now in the deeper ends of brainstorming the concepts, the scripts, the storyboards, the general pre-production, making sure that their visual ideas align with the client's vision as well. We would then send that over to them for review, and we would have another meeting at this point of the onboarding process just to make sure that they're happy, give their thoughts on the project as a whole, and ready to execute moving forward. This is all about maintaining regular communication throughout the production process and pre-production process by this stage, knowing that everything is aligned, they're being looked after, and we care for them. And the final thing that we would do before we start this production phase is actually just drop them an email. Even if you take everything that I say today and think that only some of it applies because you're working on much smaller projects and not these much bigger projects, then this is something that you should definitely do. Drop them an email a few days away from the shoot happening, just to say, hey, just want to make sure everything is okay, looking forward to working with you, etc. It makes them feel like they're looked after, which they are. You are looking after them, and it's their opportunity to ask you any questions in this process as well. So the stages of the process becomes a little bit more what you're used to from this point. So we obviously conduct the shoot itself. We then send them an email follow-up after the shoot just to update the scope of work. Perhaps you had, spoken about it being beautiful and sunny outside and it was raining on the day. So it's just your opportunity to update everyone so the vision is altered and everyone has a good understanding of that. And then of course we move into the post-production phase. This is the thing that you guys are good at, so you have an understanding of this. Move through that editing process and just send them an update. This is what we ask our team to do. Just update our clients every so often just to let them know that their videos will be with them on time or ahead of time, hopefully not later than the given deadline they mentioned previously, and just to give them an update throughout this whole process. Send them a photo or set up a WhatsApp group with them as well is something that we do, just so that we can share some images of the timeline. We can show them little snippets and almost so we can ask them some questions as part of that kind of process. We do then have a review and revision process where we get them to review the content. Any amendments will then follow, and then we're happy to deliver the video over to them. And that's when, as part of this whole bigger customer journey process from onboarding right the way through, we then move them into account management and post-sales process. Because what this enables us to do, if anyone was going to stop there, give them their video, send them an invoice, then you're going to be forever stuck in this cycle of doing work, looking for more work, getting a project, doing the work, looking for more work, doing the project, etc. Because this is where it becomes so beneficial to businesses to look after the clients from this stage onwards. So we would then do a post-project review with them to make sure they were happy with everything. Once they've posted the content, we would then discuss future steps with them as well. And then we would start to take them back through a little bit of this cycle, kind of starting from the onboarding discovery meeting again, and start to discuss future projects and start to branch that out into what does that actually look like? What does that cost look like, etc., etc. If they're not looking for any video content right now, then we'll make sure that we're constantly keeping them in the forefront of our minds. We will send them updates on what their competitors are doing, things to think about. Hey, I've just noticed that these guys have released a really good video. Maybe you should do that as well. Maybe we can create this together, or whatever it is. So we're always making sure that we're touching base with them, and that's just solid, good account management. If you do that, these clients are going to use you more often than if you weren't to do that. Then they might only come back to you 2 or 3 times a year. But if you look after them, they will continue coming back to you, and they will become your biggest fans, and which will help you because they'll start recommending you to other businesses too. Onboarding is just a small part to the huge operation you need to run in a business. And if it's just you and a freelancer on your own, that's completely fine. But you understand you have to wear lots of different hats, from marketing to sales to fulfillment to filming to editing and all of this stuff in between. So if you want some help with that, if you want a clear 7-step process with actionable things that you can do right now, then take a look at this video. This is what I would do if I was to start my production company again. And I know that I would be able to get to where I am right now much quicker by avoiding a lot of those pitfalls. So make sure you take a look at that video. I'll see you in the next one.